Here we go. Now I'm going live on YouTube. So YouTube, hi, how you doing? I'm live on YouTube, and I'm also live on eTalk.tv. If you want to go check that out, I will be taking calls later on, and I was trying to stick to my half-hour time limit, but that's okay. I was going to talk about astrology for a half an hour. So YouTube, meet eTalk. eTalk has been listening to me chat for 20 minutes until I figured out that my live stream wasn't even going on YouTube. So YouTube is new to the stream. How you doing? How you doing? There's a chat over there too. So there's a chat here and a chat there. There a chat, there a chat, there a chat. There's an eTalk chat on eTalk.tv where I'm streaming live, and I do so every Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, and that would be 11 p.m. Pacific. And if you want to join me over there, you can sign up and make a little profile, station identification. Then you can chat in the wee little chat room. Or you can hang out on YouTube. Do what you want. I did say I was going to try to screen share on YouTube, but I don't know. That wasn't really working out. Let me see if I can do that again. But in the meantime, we will talk about astrology because really that's all it matters. To me, everything boils down to astrology. Whenever I'm listening to something, I'm hearing a situation, analyzing it, because I do that. I transcribe it into astrology in my brain. And I'm like, where's the planets in that situation? And Jeff, you're the only one in the eTalk chat. Somebody go keep Jeff company. You know what? I'm going to retweet this thing again. And it's 222. It's 222 on my phone. So when you're ready, when I'm ready, and then when you're ready, I will be taking calls a little later on in the show. And the number for that is 914. I'm going to put it in the chat room because that's what good hosts do. 914-222-1231. There you go. It's in the chat now. Should put it in YouTube also. So, yeah, I was looking at, just to get YouTube up to speed, I was looking at the astrology where it is right now. The sun making an awkward aspect to Saturn, and there's delays and restrictions, and maybe things aren't quite going the way you want to go. You're having issues. I'm having issues. I've got tons of issues, and I'm working on them. So, so it's all good. And we've got Mercury that just entered Virgo, so the nitpicky quotient and the persnicketyness will likely be increasing. And I got some thoughts on that. Having some Virgo placements myself, I have been both the victim and the perpetrator of Virgo bullshit. Let's just put it that way. So it does. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, So it is a sign that it does deal with the mind, the way we think, discrimination, and um, discernment. Those are like two sides of the same coin of Virgo, where, we can discern and sort of analyze and sort things out and put them into compartments, and categories. That's what Virgo does. So, in some respects, on a mental level, we're doing a little bit better, especially if you're an earth sign like me. It's a little more practical. And, but here's the shadow side of Virgo. And because Virgo, the opposite sign is Pisces, when I look at the Virgo Pisces axis, I see one of the things I see is a lot of projection, um, scapegoating, and you know, it's the tendency to criticize other people's faults, fault finding, pickiness, being judgmental, throwing shade on people, pointing out their flaws. But there's so much hypocrisy that goes into that shadow side of it because we are projecting. And so the main things that I see, the two main things I see with the projection is either we are criticizing other people for things that we do, or we don't like that behavior, and there's a reason why it bothers us for some reason. Like we have declared it a bad trait, let's say, a negative trait. And so therefore we label that person as being negative, or we don't like that. But sometimes when something bothers us about another person and their behavior, it's because if it's not that we do it and we're just not facing the fact that, we have those tendencies or those traits, and that's our shadow, and we're seeing our shadow and we don't like it. Or sometimes, what I've also seen too is that we don't feel comfortable. All right, let's look at it in terms of like the Leo and the self promotion. We don't feel comfortable, let's say, um, bragging about our achievements, or not even necessarily bragging, but like putting ourselves out there. We don't really feel comfortable. And we look at other people who have no problem doing that, or appear to have no problem. Um, they have a huge ego and they're cool with showing off, and they want other people to see their achievements. And they appear to be bragging to a person, let's say, who doesn't like to put their achievements out there, doesn't like to self promote because they're not comfortable with it. So they'll look at that person and they'll be like, they always want to be the center of attention, or they gotta point out that they were right, or uh, promote their achievements. And sometimes it feels natural and sometimes it doesn't. And I know, like, for myself as a Capricorn, I don't really like the whole self promotion part of it. And when I do, sort of, I don't know, it's an awkward thing there. And I feel like that's also to do with that Sun Saturn aspect of feeling not quite comfortable, maybe putting ourselves out there, or kind of really, I don't know, maybe looking at what makes us feel uncomfortable about another person. That's something that I think we should look at with the Mars in Virgo, and the Mercury now in Virgo, which is going to also make an aspect to Saturn. So I think maybe we could be looking at where we're being a little maybe judgmental, overly critical? Or are we doing that to ourselves? Or what is it that we're projecting onto other people? Well, that person is so, evasive, and they don't, call back, or they're the ones that aren't communicating, when it could be us. So those are some things to kind of look at. But that's just kind of where we're at today. And I want to still really want to share my screen. I'm so excited about that. But it's not really, doesn't have to do with, oh, I know why. I know I am not. Because I didn't do the Zoom thing. Scrap it. It's fine. We don't need to do that. Another day. We will do that another day. Oh, Jeff, I'm back in the eTalk chat room. Jeff says he's lonely. Aw, I'm here with you, Jeff. Don't be lonely. Maybe we'll get you to call in, because you don't seem to be getting any other action. I don't want you to feel like, but don't feel like, like, all right, there's nobody else, so we'll take Jeff's call. Yeah, just checking chats. Yeah, there's nobody there, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's go through the week. Let's do it. So today is July 30th. That's 7:30, 2023. The day adds up to an 8. And the sun in Leo, like I said, 8 degrees, making that really itchy, uncomfortable aspect to Saturn in Pisces. And the sun is also making it in conjunct to the moon. So it's not really comfortable. Like emotionally, we would feel more comfortable if we were more on top of our game, or there's things that we need to take care of and we're not really sure how to go about it. Or you know what, Sun in Leo, we probably really want to have fun, but there's a lot of stuff maybe hanging over our heads. Like we could feel guilty about taking a little time to ourselves. That's a possibility. Um, what else is going on? The Capricorn moon is very hard on itself. It's a cold moon. It's not, I don't know, it's just like, it's not really vibing with the sun. Like our sun wants attention, our sun wants fun, love, romance. It really wants to catch up to Venus, which is retrograde, and have a little love in our lives. But there's things we need to take care of. And Saturn in Pisces is really, it's making us work really hard. We got to work on the things that are unconscious for us, where we maybe are putting up walls and boundaries when we think it's other people who have the walls and the boundaries. But with Mercury in Virgo right now, and it's going to be approaching Saturn, we should really look at what those walls are, or what responsibilities we might have been sort of leaving by the wayside, because at that time they could be a little clearer, and it also brings a lot of practical things into focus. So it's probably going to be easier in a few days to actually look at those things. So don't worry about it right now if it doesn't seem to be going smoothly, because there's just some aspects that are a little punchy. Sorry, that's what it is. And dealing with Virgo is, it's not that fun. I mean, there are good things about Virgo, but with the Leo energy and the Virgo energy, they're two different things. And one is very practical and grounded, and the other one just wants to goof off and have fun and go to the casino and blow all its money. All right, moving right along. Monday is the 31st. It's a 9-day. So there's an ending of a cycle, a 9-day cycle that started with the 1. So whatever it is, whatever you're tracking, whatever the situation is, in some phase of it kind of ends. And it will begin again with the 1. Oh, wait a minute. No, it won't. Time out, because the next day is August 1st, which actually throws us back to a 7, because 8 and 1 and 2023 reduced down to a 7. So it's going to flip-flop. It's going to end, and then we're going to get another like test, I think, or maybe a chance to sort of tweak things or redo something. That's kind of interesting. I like it when the month flips over and you can see what day that you end on, what number you end on, and then what you begin on, because you'll notice that when you go from 1 to a 9, there's a progression. But then when you're ending a month and you're going from one number to a completely different number, it can kind of reverse things on you, or you have to go back, or you're sort of like, there's sort of a recall of a situation, maybe. All right, so we're gonna go to, I'm not sharing the screen. I'm really sorry about that. You know, yeah, I'm gonna be Virgo. I can't help it. This is what happens when I am trying to do 2 things at once, I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm trying to do the YouTube thing, and I'm trying to do the e-talk thing and make them both work together, but I don't quite have each of the things where I want them to be. So it's annoying. I've been freaking whining all week. Good thing I haven't had to listen to me. All right, so Monday. It's a 9-day, an end of a certain cycle. We have the moon still in Capricorn, and let's say, yeah, the moon is still in Capricorn, and it is moving towards a conjunction with Pluto, which can be really heavy. We can see a lot of that's the dark side. That's what is being excreted from the system. It's all the old stuff. We're trying to move away from. So there's a lot of processing on a deep psychological level when we've got the moon conjunct Pluto, but it can also really focus on power and coming more into control over what's going on in the transformation that we're making. So there is a good use of that energy there. And depending on where your planets are, it could just be, well, it is a turning point, I will tell you, because Pluto is square to the nodes of the moon, which, as you know, have moved into Aries and Libra now. And it's the self and the other, and it's war and peace and diplomacy. It's me and you, and a whole cycle of ways of relating. Because Pluto at the end of the sign of Capricorn, it's really ending a very long cycle of a way of being and a way of relating. And it's time to transform. We have to transform ourselves if we want our relationships to transform. So as we are transforming, and this is what I want to say about the Pluto, Moon Pluto thing. some things have to end. If people are not growing with us, if situations are not growing with us, if there's no reciprocity and balance between ourselves and the other person, let's say, somebody's not willing to look at their stuff, what can you say? Like, where's the relationship going to go? And we suffer if we are being held back. And it will hold so many things back for us. So there will be pressure to transform around this time. We're talking tomorrow. The moon is going to make an opposition to the asteroid Juno. Juno was in Roman and Greek, well, no, Roman, hang on, I always get them mixed up. It's either Roman or Greek. So in mythology, she was Zeus's wife. And so there is a lot coming up with themes of traditional partnerships, marriages, the wife. But the way we view partnership is changing. And so there could be some significant things that we think about or realize or we experience on this day that could have to do with relationships. We could hear about people breaking up or getting together. I think there is something coming with when Juno reaches the exact opposition to Pluto, and that will be next week, around the 10th, 11th, 12th, mid-month, because Juno will be exactly opposite Pluto. And so that is really confronting the dark side and what needs to pass away. The struggle, could hear about definitely some endings of partnerships because it's squaring the nodes, and the nodes are in the sign of the, me and the other. So we're going to be dealing with that stuff. Either you'll see it or you can experience it. So on this day with the moon conjunct Pluto, we could see some sort of rumblings about that for sure. In financial astrology, some people do look at Juno as being indicative of the markets. I am not that well versed on that. However, I know that it is something that people do look at. So that is a possibility. And because the moon is going to make an uncomfortable aspect to Venus, it's just things that we're going to be seeing, whether it's the power struggles or the fear or the paranoia or the death of, that could be coming up. So if that's your situation and things are changing and things seem a little bit chaotic, you could possibly see something on that day. The other thing that is happening is, let's look at Saturn, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And Saturn is in Pisces and is being opposed by Mercury. So there is news, there are details, there are things going on with conversation and realizations of a blockage or restriction, or somebody maybe not fulfilling their responsibilities. Could be. The other thing we have happening on Monday is Mars is making a trine, 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 120 degree aspect to Jupiter. So Jupiter is in Taurus, Mars is in Virgo, And this is a good start to the week in the sense that we could be really productive. It will help to ground us. It will help us to, be a little more driven, and hopefully, hopefully with Jupiter, we'll have a little bit more positivity. It can be very optimistic, but it could also be the fact that we have to take action, which is Mars, on um, on the details and really go over the details. I mean, we could be going over the details of our finances, because with Jupiter in Taurus, it brings a expanded focus on our finances in Taurus. That's a Venus ruled sign. So we could be going over things line by line. This energy supports that. But it could also be like expanded scrutiny over our finances or our resources, because that's Taurus. So we're looking at that. And there could be a little bit more of those attacks on people, on people's values, or, why do people attack other people if not based on their own values? Going against somebody who, going up against people who they don't agree with the other person's values, making value judgments. I could see that with the Mars in Virgo and Jupiter in Taurus. And still, there's still a whole lot of this Venus in Leo and the Sun in Leo, and how it contrasts with Mercury and Mars in Virgo. And there could be, it's just it's a polarity of, like, on one hand you have people shamelessly strutting around, self-promoting, and look at me, and doing the peacock thing, right? And then you've got another section of the crowd who is self-deprecating and caught in self judgment and criticism. So and doing the passive aggressive thing and throwing shade on other people. So that could always be fun to watch. Anyway, but we got to remember that where Mercury is right now in the beginning of Virgo, it's tracing Mars's steps. So the Mars action has already been taken in that respect, and the attack has already been launched. But then I think it becomes verbal the more we go through Virgo. But anyway. So moving on to Tuesday. All right, the big deal on Tuesday is it's August 1st. We have a full moon at 10 degrees of Aquarius, and the Sun in Leo opposing the moon in Aquarius. So full moons are always an intense time, and this should be no exception. What else is going on underneath the surface? We have Mercury, which is making an opposition to Saturn. So here's the critique. Here comes here comes the critique. Here comes the plan, maybe. And I think we need to. It's good, if you have to do some kind of detailed work and really grind through it, create some kind of structure, put structure to something. But it also, I think, calls for restraint in what we say. Maybe to be a little bit more observant of how we, not just how we talk to other people, how we talk about other people, even ourselves. our own self-talk and our own self-criticism. And, you know, this is what I talked about before, self-deprecation. But, you know, the mind can really be on target. So if you actually if you are grappling with something and you really want to look at it from a more of a detached and analytical perspective, that's a good day to do it with the full moon, because the full moon brings things to light, to a culmination. You know, the moon is our shadow side, and it's more of the internal scape. And so when we have the full moon, it kind of brings things out of the shadow, and we can see things a little bit more for what they are. So, I don't know. I try not to attack anybody. Try to be detached. Try to be the detached Aquarius moon. That's what it is. What else is going on? So that Mars in Virgo is still making that nice flowing aspect to Jupiter, but Jupiter's excess. So I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me. Dave Cruz is in the chat room now. Thank you for tapping in, Dave Cruz. Welcome. So I got a Leo and I got a Pisces. Dave, it's just you and Jeff. So take off your shoes, kick back, get out the snacks. You know, I forgot. The elf texted me. Where is the elf? My goodness. We're waiting for you, elf. I don't see him in any of the chats, but he could be listening. I think he was listening last time, but couldn't be in the chat until later. So I'll just check over on the brew tube. We're on the brew tube and I still can't share my screen. That's okay. It's whatever. Yeah, so where was I? Full moon on Tuesday. This will be most specifically affecting Leos, Aquariuses, Virgos, and Pisces, with a little bit of, well, I would say that the Tauruses and the Scorpios are peripheral to this, like they may be observing it going on. It's possible. And the Geminis and the Sagittarius will definitely be talking about it. Absolutely. Absolutely. They'll be gossiping about it around the water cooler. Whatever it is. Yeah, so let's see. That's, you know, the other stuff is still going on in the background. It's the Pluto squaring the nodes. There's a big change coming, a big ending coming, big transformation. It already happened on Twitter, right? So I don't know. Are there things going on behind the scenes? You know, the sun is representative of leaders and people in the public eye, especially in Leo. So what are we hearing about people in the public eye and their families or their children? A lot of stuff coming up with this Venus retrograde about children. Now the moon, so the moon, I really feel like this is, whatever's going on is a cascading effect, because the moon is making the opposition to the sun, right? But then as it moves forward, it is going to square to Jupiter. So from Tuesday into Wednesday, there's going to be a lot more information and actions being taken in regard to, let's say, because it's affecting the Jupiter in Taurus, it could be financial. It could be related to technology in some way because it is Aquarius. So I would look for anything relating to, let's just give it a broad stroke and say, if it's financial, it could be digital currency, something we hear about digital currency. If it's to do with, yeah, celebrities, maybe I would say, there's a lot. I just heard something recently about people leaving, like a lot of celebrities moving out of California and selling their houses. So I don't know. We could be hearing about, so it could be financial news, really, like definitely big changes. Oh gosh, somebody just told me that their homeowners insurance, they can't get underwriting in California for apartments, and they have apartments in their house, and they have a problem now. So that's interesting. Anyway, just a side note. But in relationships, when it has to do with oppositions, when we have an opposition in planets, either we swing one way or the other. Oftentimes, we could play both roles of the planets, or we play it out in our relationships where we are playing the role of one planet and the other person is playing other roles. So the sun in Leo, I mean, Leo is the individual, and then Aquarius is the group, the collective, the social media, online stuff. It has to do with networks and associations. So you could see a lot coming up maybe regarding the individual within the collective, which is Aquarius. And if this has to do with social media, I'm wondering if there is some censoring going on or restriction, because we have Mercury opposing Saturn, and it's been building. So is there, the restraint that I saw with Mercury opposing Saturn, we could be restraining ourselves from saying something, or it could be that we find ourselves being restricted from saying something. So it can really play out in a couple of different ways. And here I am. I'm like at an hour already. I'm terrible like that. Like I could just go on and on. It's hard for me to keep it succinct, keep it short and sweet, keep it simple, stupid. All right, so that's the full moon. That's Tuesday. And moving into Wednesday, we're going to have the moon is going to oppose Venus. So we could be coming up with some relationship things, issues of self-worth, and maybe feeling detached, maybe feeling a little outcasted or detached or kind of invisible. Aquarius is known for its cloak of invisibility. It can make itself invisible when it wants to, but it's also feeling kind of invisible. Like maybe we want to get attention, but we feel like we're invisible. We feel like nobody's paying attention, nobody's interacting. It could be a little bit of that. Or, it could just be we need to detach. We need to detach from whatever's going on because also on Wednesday, the moon is making a square aspect to Uranus, which could be some surprises. I could see like some nervous, because it's related to the nervous system, Aquarius is, and the moon being the way we're feeling, we could be feeling burnt out. Um, so the sudden changes that are happening could be somebody just kind of dips off and you don't hear from them, but it's probably because they've got a lot going on, most likely. Yeah. And you know what else we could see coming up? I could see a lot of jealousy with. Um, I talked about Black Moon Lilith last week. Lilith being in Leo is bringing out a little bit of like jealousy and competitiveness, especially around females. So the shadow side of Leo and the feminine, um, there could be some social media beef. Or I don't know, maybe somebody wants to like have at you and like get your attention and you're ignoring them because maybe it's somebody from the past and maybe their memory of how things went and your memory of how things went might be a little bit different, and they don't realize that you're not on the same wavelength anymore. I have so much like with Venus in retrograde, and last week I talked about one of my former exes that I bumped into in the store, shockingly. And then the other day, I got a text from someone who I literally, a female friend, literally have not talked to this girl in, my God, 10 years. I want to say it's 10 years. However, what I realized when I got the text from her, because it went something like, "Hi, is this Susan's number?" And I said, "Yes, who is this?" Thinking it was somebody, I mean, I thought I knew like who it was. I thought it was work related, actually. Um, and she says, "Hi, it's blank." And I didn't answer. And the next day I got another text. "Oh, I was just going through an old address book and I saw your number and I just wanted to see if that was the same number." And I didn't answer. And I blocked her. Because what I realized was she is one of the first people that I really like I flat out defriended in real life. And I don't do that often. But this person was so toxic. And I just, well, just one day I was like, you know, she's just nasty. She's a miserable person. She's not being nice to me. She makes these passive aggressive digs at me. She's always putting me down. And I thought, why am I even? And so she texts me and I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I remember you. And I remember like, what you did to me. Do I want to be nice?" And because you know what? I don't know. People don't really change. Well, they don't really change. And I don't want to like find out because there's nothing there for me. So another Venus retrograde story, like, oh wow. Just like I don't know what to say. So funny though. But anyway. All right, I'm gonna shut up about myself. Back to the astrology. And we're on Wednesday. What else are we doing Wednesday? So the moon is making a nice aspect. I say nice. It's easy. It's flowing. Stimulating. Let's say stimulating. The nodes of the moon. So the north node where we're going, north node is in Aries. Like we are there. We are headed in that direction. We are looking towards our independence. We're looking at our assertiveness. We're dealing with aggression. We are, did I say independent? It's about us. It's about the individual. It's about, well, we really should look at, you know, our impulses and our ego in terms of id, like what is our just our like, are we acting off of just instinct and impulse and desire, like just pure um pure me, because we have to consider other people too, right? um And so, looking at the actions that we're taking, looking at this new cycle that we're in, because we're still getting our footing with the Aries and Libra nodes, right? So, I think it'll be easy to release the past and past relationships and past ideas about how we need to perform, like what we're obligated towards, what kind of relationships we want to have, who we are when we interact with other people. You know, like, I mean, my experience of a particular person might not be another person's experience. And that person could like just trigger something in me that they don't trigger in another person. It's just the way it is. Right. So, anyway, um, I would say on Wednesday, if you want to do anything social, get together with somebody, you know, that's popped up from the past and everything's still cool. This is definitely a good day to put effort towards being the new you know, and putting yourself out there is still a good thing. Anything having to do with social media looks good to me. What else we got in here? Yeah, by the way, I want to mention that, where is it? It's in my notes. Did I write it down? Mercury is gonna go retrograde. I know it's everybody's favorite time of year, 3 times a year, baby. Mercury retrograde. It will happen at the end of the month. I'm mentioning it right now because Mars is going to be going over those degrees where Mercury will go retrograde. So there could be some actions taken at this time between now and August 23rd, let's just say, or maybe mid-August. Let's kind of put it into the shadow phase. So watching what we're saying and the decisions we're making, the actions that we're taking, it's probably a good idea to pay attention. Pay attention to the details right now, because I feel like we're going to have to like go over this ground again and redo some stuff with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, which I would say it's happy, but I don't know. Is Virgo ever happy? But really, if things are, I don't know, Elf can tell us because he's a Virgo. He's not here. Is Virgo ever happy? I'm just asking for a friend. So yeah, that's Wednesday. Not too shabby. It really does look like a productive week. I'm not gonna lie. It really does. All right, so you know, I have in my notes here one thing I really kind of want to say about Mercury, because Mercury all week, it's more or less in aspect where Mercury is making an opposition to Saturn. Mercury is the mind and the speech and the ideas and the information, the communications, whether it's written or verbal or whatever it is. Opposing Saturn, yeah, it's productive, but we have to push through obstacles. And one of the things that just came to me earlier is, okay, so in Mercury and Virgo, we have information, you know, So we have the mind, it gathers information and knowledge, right? But then with Saturn, I really kind of feel like Saturn wants us to look at what is the difference between knowing something and, let's say, gnosis, which comes from your own personal experience and what you have gleaned from your struggles and obstacles that you've overcome, the hard work that you've done on yourself. So there's a difference between, let's say, reading about it and studying and consuming that information versus digesting it, assimilating it, and applying it to your own life. Because you could know a whole lot of like really deep stuff and you can talk about it all day long and you can project it onto other people and say, well, they're not doing this, and they like criticize them and point out their flaws. But here I really think that I feel like we're going to hit a wall somewhat when it comes to really walking the walk and talking the talk, because real true wisdom is gained from personal experience and reflecting upon oneself, knowing yourself, observing yourself. And with Mercury and Virgo, I really think that we should observe our own thoughts, like what's going on in our heads. What is the thought pattern, right? Are we mentally criticizing ourselves? Are we like mentally throwing shade on other people, right? Are we being judgy and critical? Are we pointing out other people's flaws? So it's a good time to see our own shadows, really. I think that'll come up with full moon. Anyway, Thursday is a 9-day. It's August 3rd. We're dealing with more of that Saturn stuff because the moon is going to hit Saturn. So the moon being the mood, the emotions, it's on a serious note with Saturn. So it's maybe saying, all right, we got to get this stuff done. I've got to make a decision. I've got to do the work. I've got to get more details. I've got to create a better structure. Virgo is also, it's our daily routines and habits and our health, things that we do on a day-to-day basis. So we really could be looking at that and saying, wow, I need to change up some things. I can't say I want to or I'm going to. I have to actually make a list, create a structure, create a routine, give yourself a schedule with things. Otherwise, nothing really gets done, right? Weeks can go by, months can go by. Trust me, I know. Yeah, and that's Thursday. Like, it really doesn't look too bad, but it's serious. Let's get down to business. It's not frivolity, let's say. But yet, it really doesn't fit in well with our Leo type plans because Leo wants to have fun. And I think that's it's a passing influence, really. It's going to shift and change. Friday. Okay, yeah, Friday. Friday is a 1-day. So Thursday, some emotional cycle ends, I would say. And then Friday, all right, something else begins. It could be a thought pattern, it could be an emotional, a mood or whatever, and then you wake up Friday and it broke, whatever. So Friday, we got still the moon in Pisces, and the moon is going to make a conjunction to Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So there could be a huge urge to just be really super idealistic or delusional, whichever one. Or maybe you just had enough and you're just so tired and you just want to escape. It is a good creative aspect in a sense, but it makes an uncomfortable angle to Venus. So it may not be really that good for relationships and relating, because some stuff can come up where we didn't see some stuff before. Like, we should really look at on this day, like, where are we fooling ourselves about what's going on here? Or if it's a project, it could be that we're looking at certain aesthetics with Venus and it's just not working. So there is discordant energy here today on Friday. There is something coming up that perhaps we didn't see, or we did see it and now it's really coming up and we have to deal with it because it's that Venus awkward aspect, and it could be, if it's relationships, sometimes, we can misinterpret people's signals and think that a certain type of attention means more than it does. That could be a thing. Or we could also be looking at our finances and say, oh my God, like, this is an unexpected thing that came up, or didn't expect to have to pay for this, or just going over details of whatever. If you're balancing your checkbook, be like, wow, your husband or your wife wrote out a check, didn't put it in the check register, and now your balance is off, and your bank account's all screwed up, and you got some NSF charges because somebody screwed up here. But anyway, we should probably look out for some idealism. This is coming up with Venus in retrograde a lot, but it's going to increase to where we could have really rose-colored glasses on things, and it could really seem really great, but it could be too good to be true. Is it too good to be true? Maybe. It could be. I also think that as far as people putting themselves out there, like, and I talked about imposter syndrome last week, who's the real deal and who's not, you're going to see, because death coming up from the shadows, from the depths. And, we can really just be looking at people in our life and just be like, are you really there for me? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you? Or like, what is this? There's an illusionary quality to it and it feels a little weird and awkward. I don't know. There's somebody I know who just started a new relationship under this influence, and they're heavily influenced by by this Venus retrograde, having a Leo rising. And I said, how are things going? And he's like, oh, it's great. It's great. Oh my God, it's just so great. I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but just keep your eyes open and don't make any decisions or commitments based on whatever's going on right now, because there could be some stuff that comes up in about a week or so when Venus retrograde conjuncts the sun. I didn't specify the aspect, but I said, listen, I'm not saying it's all going to fall apart. Just keep your eyes open. It could be someone's insecurities coming out. It could be their issues coming up. It could be yours, which I doubt it, because they're very pretty much secure in knowing what they want. I think the issue might be with the other person. I don't know. Maybe there could be misinterpreted signals here. But my point is, on Friday, there could be an opportunity to see past that veil, to see what's really there if we're looking. Or we want to just delude ourselves and say, no, it's perfect. It's all going to work out. This is awesome. It's exactly what I've always wanted. Everything is perfect. I mean, I hope it is. I wish it was. It's not. I just know it's not. But it's okay. I'm not going to interfere with that learning process. It's okay. And then I said, oh, I bet you your ex is going to come back around now that you're happy with someone else. That's what's probably going to happen. So this is what is kind of building. It could be. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Friday, lack of clarity when it comes to money, love, and females. And also this would not be the day to go and have like a makeover or your haircut or change your style. Anything drastic. Don't do it on this day because you're just not seeing clearly. Trust me. There is some kind of adjustment that needs to be made, but it's within ourselves. It's not going to make us feel better if we adjust the outside and ignore the inside, right? So I don't know. I think there's going to be more like exposure of frauds and con artists and things with romantic scams. Totally, that's totally the Venus inconjunct. The angle that it's making is called an inconjunct. The aspect to Neptune. Neptune rules deception, lying. Who's lying? Okay, so if you keep your eyes open and you want to see things for what they are and not just lie to yourself and say, no, it's perfect, it's going to be awesome. Lord, show us the truth. Help us to walk in the truth always. So, don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself and don't lie to other people. Lying sucks. Yeah, okay, moving right along. It's 322. It's one of my numbers. I like that number. Okay, so if there's anybody left, I'll take calls. Give me like 5 minutes. I'll wrap it up, I swear. Saturday is the 5th. It's a 2-day. The moon is in Aries for most of the day. No, for all of the day, sorry. It's making a, excuse me, awkward aspect to Mercury. So being assertive and approaching things and confrontation is not the best thing to do on this day. I would not recommend it. Or just kind of keep, stay in your lane. Moon in Aries, just be about your own business. Mind your aggressiveness, because with Mercury making an awkward aspect to the moon, there can be things that are said that could be regretful. And you can miss details with this kind of an aspect. I don't know. I would think that this could ramp up the self-criticism and the verbal attacks on people, and because it just lends itself to stupid aggression, selfishness, attacks, inflamed and bruised egos. We do need to make an adjustment. Let it be a personal adjustment and not to be projecting onto others. Anyway, make a strategy. See where you want to go and make a plan. That's a good thing for Saturday. Not a bad thing at all. Or do something new. Do something new and exciting. The moon does make a nice aspect to the sun, so it is very positive. It does support being active and being assertive. And again, if you're putting yourself out there, it's a good day to do that. You're just thinking about yourself, putting yourself first, I would say, and gaining confidence and ramping up your creativity, thinking about your own identity and your own selfhood, really. And then on the 6th, on Sunday, we've got the moon in Aries again, still makes a conjunction to Chiron. So there's some healing going on, hopefully. It can highlight the pain and the wounding that we're in the process of healing when it comes to our identity and our selfhood, because that's Aries. Men in general, because again, it's ruled by Mars, Aries is. Yeah, the moon has, well, the moon will have early on Sunday. There's some kind of an uncomfortable aspect between the moon and Mars. So there could be a situation where somebody has taken the wrong type of action or asserted themselves in the wrong kind of way, being overly aggressive, overly critical, and feelings get hurt. Or we could just be contemplating, the changes that we want to make and trying not to be so hard on ourselves, I think. But the moon later on in the day actually makes a positive aspect to Venus. So there is the potential for relating and looking at where we want to go in terms of our relationships, who we are, and then the relationships we want to have, what we're creating, what we're building, what we want to generate as far as our home. I've been thinking about this recently, and this aspect with the moon in Leo, the moon in Aries, the North Node in Aries, and aspecting Venus in Leo, thinking about our physical energy, right? Our not electrical charge, it's not really like, well, it can be, but the fire, like fire in terms of the fire within us, our passion, our creativity, our life force, though, and really being able to harness that and channel it into our creative aspects, and what it is that we want to see grow in our life, but also our personal charisma. You ever notice how some people are just, they just light up a room? And this is a very much a trait of true Leo energy, where because Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun, what happens? The sun comes out on a sunny day and it just lights everything up and it warms the air and it makes the plants grow and it's life-giving. But thinking about our energy in terms of our inner sun, so to speak, and our own magnetism, our chi, and how we leak it and we give it away and we allow it to be siphoned off from us, whether it's us doing it by our, negative self-talk or letting other people neg us down, right? And how can we store that up and build it up, building up our own charisma, our own magnetism? And how does that benefit us in our relationships and in the things that we're trying to achieve in this life. You know, when you look at the sign of Leo and you understand that, yes, Leo rules children. So the fifth house, the fifth sign, Leo, it's all related to what we create. So it is our creativity, but we create children, right? But our projects are like our magical child, you know, we have to nurture it, we have to build it up. But there is this force within us that helps us to create things. And that's what I'm talking about our life force, our chi energy, and how it helps us to create. So August 6th, just saying it's a good aspect. Venus in Leo is conjunct Black Moon Lilith. Now, Black Moon Lilith is what we call, it's a point, not a planet, but it refers to the apogee of the moon. So it's the point in space in relation to where we are, and where the moon is in its orbit around the Earth. The apogee is the furthest point that the moon reaches in its orbit. So apogee, think away from. And Black Moon Lilith is the apogee. It's the furthest point away. And it does represent part of our shadow and our unconscious. And I mean, it's definitely a tricky kind of thing. So Venus aspecting Black Moon Lilith, again, when Venus was going direct and it was making an aspect to Lilith, that's where I was seeing a lot of this competitiveness, jealousy, especially with females. And I guess, you know, part of what Lilith, it strikes me as being the shadow part of it, it's sort of not accessible unless you really tap into it. So I guess looking at our fears, excuse me, around relationships, for women in particular, how do we interact with one another? Looking at your own jealous side and competitiveness when it comes to looking at other females. Or, you know, if you're male, it could be the females in your life that you're dealing with. But to me, this aspect with Venus and Lilith is the hidden desire for love or attention that we're not getting in some way, shape, or form, and really having to look at that. Some way it will, I feel, it will play out with this aspect. So, but it's a good day, really look at, you know, what's my own self-worth? You know, am I putting other people down, or am I jealous of them because I don't feel good about myself? Maybe that's a question to ask. Like, and that's male or female. It doesn't matter who you are. Because I know we all have people that we looked at and said, that person rubs me the wrong way. But there's something about that person sometimes that we want to be. We don't like it. We don't like it because they're comfortable in their skin and we're not. There's such weirdness that goes on with people. But so, you know, watch a little weirdness. What's the weirdness? What is the weirdness? And I assure you that someone is being selfish on this day and trying to control things, and that will come up and you can see it. You can see it. And because This is also aspecting Pluto. Pluto wants to control things, and when it comes to the shadow, there's some sketchy, nasty stuff that could be going on, like underhanded, mean girl stuff even. I don't know. Like overly masculine women. I could see that. Yeah. Anyway, that's Sunday. So go to church, go to confession. But definitely, I, I see where we could get caught up is really like if it's love and romance, just wanting to like go have a fling or go have an affair. There is a potential for doing something stupid right now. So really think about it. Or, getting involved with something that you just know is probably not good, but God, it feels really good right now. If it's not happening, you should be thinking about it from the past. So that is the week. And I've gone way over my time, but that's okay because Jeff said I could. And what's going on in the chat room? Not really that much. Dave said, some people just suck. Yeah, they do, Dave. They absolutely do. Some people just suck. And then you just gotta walk away. That's all. Just walk away. Let them go suck with somebody else. Let them go figure that stuff out with somebody else. I'm done. All right. Well, thank you for all who showed up to listen and to support. I am mighty grateful to all of you for your support. And thank you to eTalk for being there, for existing. We love you, eTalk. Yeah, so if you want to find me, if you would like a reading, you can email me at astrolunachick@gmail.com. If you want to find me on social media, look for me, AstroLunaChick, and I'm mostly on Twitter. I hang out a little bit on Facebook sometimes. I have a page. Look for me, AstroLunaChick. You can find my page. You can like it. I usually put updates on there. Actually, I'm a little bit lax about that lately. I should update that. But anyway, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can check me out on Rumble. You can follow that channel over there on Rumble. I probably will put videos up there. Those will be my more edgy content, most likely, because I'd be less likely to get kicked off. I'm not trying to get kicked off of YouTube. That's what I'm not trying to do. But anyway, yeah, for future reference, I do like to look at charts of celebrities and public figures and true crime stuff, and doing the readings on eTalk. And so, I'll open up the phone line. What the hell? I'll open it up. Ooh, I think I have a voicemail message. Oh, wow. Okay, I have a voicemail message. So it says, I'm leaving a message for the free reading for the show. I was born on October 5th, 2005, 2:57 a.m., Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you. Thank you, whoever you are. You left that message at 3:33 p.m. I just want you to know. That's super cool. I'm so stoked. All right, so I'm going to put you in a little database here. What are we going to call you? We're going to call you 702 area code. And that's what I'm going to label you as. So if you ever call back in 702, please remind me that I put you under 702 in my little database. 702. All right. Okay, October. Bear with me, people, while I enter my information here. Now, if you're curious, what software am I using? I use iFeminist, which I downloaded as an app. It was a free app. I don't think it's free anymore, but I love it. I run it on my iPad, and it's worked really good for me. Sometimes I can even share my screen when I do a Zoom meeting. I mean, a Zoom thing. See, that's the thing. I didn't do Zoom. That's why I can't share it on the YouTube or whatever. All right. Las Vegas. No. Is it true that what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas? Mm, I don't know. Mm-mm-mm. All right. I think I've got this right now. Okay, so you didn't ask a question, but I mean, you didn't specify what you want me to look at, and that's fine. We're just going to look at your chart. So 2:57 a.m. Let's see. All right, so you are a Libra. You have the Sun conjunct the South Node in Libra. You have Mercury and Jupiter conjunct also in Libra. So you have what we would call a stellium, which is, well, they say 3 or more planets. I think 3, 4, but we're also talking about the South Node. So it brings a lot of focus to the Libra energy. And Libra is in search of the other, but wants to understand itself and its identity, let's say. It needs to do it through relationship with other people. There is a tendency, because the Sun is conjunct the South Node, that the South Node tends to be where we're coming from. If you believe in past lives, it's considered to be a theme of a past life, and where we can get stuck. So how do I put this? Needing to learn about oneself through a relationship, yet having to release what our ideas of ourselves are in terms of our relationships. So we understand life through the lens of relationships here, but oh gosh, how do I want to put this? But we don't want to get stuck there, right? You do have to look at things in terms of what works for you. You cannot necessarily define yourself only by your relationships, and working on creating balance. It could be easy to really default to other people, and maybe I mean, sometimes I think maybe it could feel like you're giving more to the relationship, and the other person gets to be more independent and selfish. And feeling like, wow, I'm really holding it together here. And you just kind of get to go off and do your own thing. And maybe being a little bit envious of the fact that other people don't seem to have a problem with independence or standing up for themselves or not needing somebody. Um, there is a sense of that, and hmm. So if I'm looking at it in terms of what's going on, like now, let's say the Venus retrograde, because Venus retrograde is making an aspect to your Libra planets, it is really drawing your focus to um, the underlying dynamics with yourself and other people, your goals in terms of for yourself and your own sense of balance, and not letting other people throw you off balance, um, and letting go of the past, because the sun conjunct the south node, it can tend to stay stuck there. Like if your relationships define your identity, then if we're not letting go of past relationships or things that have happened, um, we're not really letting go of or looking at like, well, who you were then versus who you are now. Um, or, well, this worked before with relationships, and not considering that it needs to change because you're changing. You need to evolve. Your relationships need to evolve. I mean, South Node in Libra gets relationships. Like you get the idea of the, needing to kind of go along to get along sometimes, and what it takes to create balance in a partnership, in any one-on-one interaction, right? But Libra can tend to sacrifice its own peace and harmony and balance in order to keep the peace. So those are some of the things you might want to look at, and also look at what you've learned about relationships, how you understand, how you communicate, what your beliefs are about yourself, and kind of maybe even discovering or rediscovering yourself, because that is could be how the Leo how the retrograde with Venus is playing into with your chart, and there could be thinking about people that you knew and situations and relationships, um, even if you're not communicating with them. But there is some sort of realization of how far you've come and what you've learned, and what you've learned about yourself and your own self worth and your value, even when it comes to how you make money. I'm going to say that that is somewhat, and I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to I don't want to take too much time, but how you make money and your self worth and your relationships all being tied in together, and having to do with how you take initiative on things, how other people take the initiative, and I don't know, maybe there could be something that you feel like was a missed opportunity that could come back around. And that's yeah, that's probably all I could really go into it right now. I hope that that was helpful, and I thank you for leaving the message and getting the reading. Take advantage, people. Get it while it's hot. All right. I don't know if anybody wants to call it. Is anybody still out there? Actually, Oh my gosh, there's people in the chat. Wow. Look at that. Lynn E.T. Hi. Hi, Lynn. And Jerry's here. Jerry, what's up, Jerry? Hey, Jerry. And Alpha. Alpha. Yeah, that does say Alpha. Hello, Alpha. When will I meet my future wife and how will be she? Oh, she's going to be gorgeous. She's going to love you. No, what am I, Miss Cleo? All right, I would have to look at that chart. That's fun. Let's see, is there any other chatters? Chatters! Oh, Jeff, that was your daughter, Marlena. Oh, cool. Well, I hope I didn't like ruin her life or anything or give her any. Give her I don't know, a heart attack. I don't know. I always wonder sometimes how things come across because I could say things in the most diplomatic and kind or like positive way, and then somebody could take it a totally different way. I don't know. I don't know. Marlena. Marlena, that's really cool. Oh, I'm really glad. Does anybody want to call? I'm going to open the line. Who wants to say hi? Okay, don't all call at once. Makes me think of the song 1, 2, 3, Marlena's. Oh wait, did I have another? No, I thought I had another message here. Wait a minute, I do. Wait. It says 2. I don't know, but oh my goodness. Hello.
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 How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. This is Jeff. You know what? Maybe I'm going to move my microphone over closer to the speaker. So maybe that will help. Because last time I noticed that the calls were not really coming through. But say hello, Jeff. Say hello to everyone. Hello.
So how are you doing? Another wonderful show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The time really got away from me. I didn't think I'd be on here for 2 hours, but here I am.
No, that's fine. The more the merrier. and let me just say, I am so glad you're back on eTalk Live. Just really makes my Sunday and my week. So I'm just really happy you're back doing your live show.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm really happy to be doing it. But you know, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy when I get on here. But I was definitely going through some like I don't know, I was just like really not happy with like where I'm at, you know, like I'm like, oh, it's not perfect. I hate it. Just going through some.
Well, I think we all feel the same way about our shows sometimes, you know. I'm always like, oh my God, that was horrible. How do I improve it? But no, you are amazing. You do great. You know, to do a show by yourself for an hour or even 2 hours like you're going now is very difficult. And so you hold yourself together and you run it really well. So thank you again.
Wow, thank you. That's a really nice compliment. You see, this is just the running commentary that normally goes on in my head. It's just coming out my mouth. Like I literally have done shows in my head. I've done lectures in my head to audiences who are not there. But yeah, I don't know. It's part of my psychosis. But anyway, I guess it works if I could talk for 2 hours. But do you want me to look at your chart real quick?
I do want you to do something for me, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned before a year ago when I did the E-Talk Haunted Marathon that I should probably get a hold of you and find out exactly what dates I should be doing this on.
Yes.
So we're getting close to redoing another Haunted Marathon. So I was going to call you and see if you could tell me what dates would work best.
You want to really do that on the air? Is that what you want to use your golden ticket for?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could do it whatever you like. You could do a reading on me, or if you could throw me some dates on that, either one. It don't matter to me.
All right. Let me see here. I know.
I guess that might not be so exciting for everybody else listening, huh?
No, it really wouldn't. But let me just see. I know I have you. Yeah, I do. Okay, I have you in here. Good. No, I knew I had you in here. I just didn't know where you were, because what I usually do is when I put people's names in here, I put a 1 before it. Those are like all the people that I read on the air, because if I actually have to go scrolling and I'm sharing my screen, then you might see other people's names. And be like, wait a minute, what are you doing peeping at their chart? Yeah, you don't know. You don't know who I'm lurking on. You don't need to know. All right. So, all right, I'm looking at your chart. And this is interesting. So, interesting where the sun is right now. It's at the bottom of your chart. It represents home, the home base. So your focus is really going to be on your home base, where you are, and feeling good about it. A large focus on home right now, and through this Venus retrograde, and maybe even having some visitors come over through the Venus retrograde. That could be possible for you. You have your, this is interesting, because I now that I realize that I just read for your daughter, your rising sign 24 Taurus is her Mars, I think, which is very interesting. I mean, her Mars on your ascendant can bring conflict. Maybe it did when she was younger, but it could also, she could also really like get you moving and get you inspired. And so Uranus, the planet of change, is just about to cross over your ascendant, which, I mean, that could bring some really radical changes for you. That can be really
good one.
It could be really exciting. It could be really shocking. When I had Uranus go over my ascendant, I changed my look completely. Like, it just happened. My physical appearance changed. So, I would say also, because it's the planet Uranus, I would tend towards the more youthful and radical and rebellious changes. But that's pretty cool. And also, the ascendant is how people interact with you. And so they might see more of you as being radical and visionary. So that's really interesting. What else is going on? Well, look, the Venus retrograde is down at the very bottom base of your chart, and that's like home base, home, past, family. So I would say that the Venus retrograde for you, because it's also going to be making a square aspect to your ascendant and that Uranus, I think coming to like resolution with the past and when it comes to relationships, especially with females. And I don't know, like a lot of people looking back at the past and saying like, oh, okay, why did I have that relationship? What attracted me? What didn't work? Why didn't it work? Why did I think it was gonna work? Going through a lot of like these gyrations and analysis over things. So I mean, I was saying you could have a female visitor, but I mean, that's just like on a really like basic level in that respect. But it can be dealing with family relationships. And do you have 2 daughters?
I do.
Okay. So let's see. What else can I tie in with that could be connected? I don't know. Let me see. Where is your Venus? Okay, that's your Venus. Mercury. Yeah, I don't know. There could be like things like with their relationship between one another and their relationship to you as a father, and you know, as we get older and as our kids get older, we have less of a responsibility. But as a parent, we kind of look back at, okay, this is how my child grew up to and turned out to be, and I was active in shaping that, and I know it. And as a parent, I could continue to be a parent and a leader for my children and my children. I don't have one, but like, I don't know. I can relate it to stuff that I've been through with my son, where I look at him and his personality and I say, oh man, I did that. And let me work to undo that. There's some damage that I did over there. Or I inadvertently contributed to a difficulty for my child. And I know I did. And so to have that relationship where you can talk to them and say, listen, I wasn't the perfect parent, and I can see as an adult looking way, way back, I know that this has affected you. You may not know that it's affected you, and addressing your kids and saying, I'm sorry. Like if I did something really, really bad, I'm sorry. But it's a lot of times it's not even, we don't even mean to. And we don't realize it until we see them as adults and we say, oh gosh, I know why my son has anxiety, because I installed that program. So I've actually been working with my son to uninstall that anxiety program because I saw it so clearly. Like I put that there. Damn. And I actually said to him, I'm like, I know as your mother that I conditioned you and put that on you, and you are who you are now, reacting the way you're reacting because of me. And I'm sorry, but here, let's look at it from a different perspective. So I think working on your relationships with your daughters, whether it's your relationship to them or their relationship to each other and their relationship to you and the dynamic, because obviously if you have 2 females, they are going to see you differently as a father. Their experience of you as a father is going to be different. They have different perspectives. So I think it would be interesting to look at that and work on, your relationships. Think about, obviously they had a mother. What was the situation with their mother, and and your relationships to women in general, your mother, all that kind of stuff, that family karma stuff this is a really good time to look at that stuff and see it from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, actually it does. I can relate that to a few different things that, has gone on throughout our lives and kind of is going on now with some changes that are happening. So
yeah,
I could definitely relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, no, that'll help big time too, because, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to deal with some of the changes that might be happening here in the future for them, because now they are young adults and they're moving forward into their life and stuff. And so, I support what they choose to do for their life, even though maybe some things that they're choosing takes away from, me and my time with them. And so, it's kind of sad and depressing as an adult that loves to be around their kids, but something like what you just told me can help me as well to be able to move forward with the changes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're just having a lot of aspects right now that it's a time where things are changing in a very big way, and we all are coping with it differently. It's all affecting us all differently on different levels, but we're all going through it in some way, shape, or form. So I hope that was helpful.
It's been an interesting meeting right from the get-go, where there's been a lot of huge changes in my life, and so that reading makes a lot of sense and can help out in a great way. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad. Well, I don't know. Well, I would like to when we go, all right, here's what we're going to do, Jeff. We're going to talk about when to do the Halloween thing. And let's get on the phone and I'll look more at your chart, because that was just a now snapshot, but I would like to look at what's coming up in the future so I can help you plan some things.
Okay, yeah. That would be awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
And anything I can do in return, you let me know.
Oh, well, dude, you created a radio station and I'm on it, so.
Well, I mean, I look at it, you're doing me a favor as well, too, by being on it and helping support my vision. So, I'm just honored that you are a part of the talk, because you really helped it make it what it is today. The diversity of everybody, all the show hosts that are on it, is just absolutely amazing. And your touch just really, for me, because I'm more on that spiritual end than anything. So for me, I absolutely love it. I can't tell you how honored I am to have you.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice to hear. I'm glad to be here. I really am. And I hope that the quality of the sound, I hope in the replay or what do you call it? I hope everyone's able to hear you clearly. I have the mic set up to the computer speakers, so I hope everybody heard that. Everyone, Jeff Burnell in the building.
Thank you very much. And yes, I hope it comes through too. And we will be working on a phone line for all the shows for e-talk here soon. We just got to get some things in order and work on that, but hopefully we'll have all that together before the marathon.
Yippee! Thank you. All righty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you have a wonderful day, and thank you very much for the reading for me and my beautiful daughter.
Thank you. You're welcome. No problem. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay, take care.
Bye, Jeff. That was Jeff Burnell, everyone. Okay, so I think I'm done. I'm finally done. I'm done. But thank you guys. A lot of you showed up towards the end there. I'm really happy to see everybody. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button so that you will be notified, if you're on YouTube, that is, you'll be notified of when I do shows, because I'm not always going to do them on both. I'm going to try to keep them separate, but for now, just to like plug the e-talk stuff, I've got it on YouTube. So, but really happy to be on etalk.tv, and thank you everybody for liking and sharing and subscribing. And when we really get a momentum going, I'll be able to do more readings, but try not to be so chatty. Like, really, I'd rather fill 2 hours of readings, but whatever, it is what it is. Okay, signing off. Sayonara, everyone. Be good, and I will talk to y'all later. Ciao for now.